Hello friends, my name is Caleb from Quite the Cash, and I'm here to teach you everything there is to know about design, one video at a time. Today we will be talking about composition. Now there are a whole bunch of different aspects of design, and we're just going to dip our toes into a very easy one today, composition. Now first things first, what is composition? Sometimes designers say two different words that mean the same thing, and sometimes they say one word that means two different things. So let's be very precise about what we're saying. In this context of this video, when I say composition, I mean the constituent ingredients of design. I don't mean merely the layout of the design. I mean all the pieces that go together to make the design, to make art happen. There are a lot of things that can fall under the umbrella of composition. The five we will be talking about today is shape, color, layering, typography, and contrast. It's important to note that these aren't the only aspects of design, but they're the important ones I feel are necessary for this video. So let's not waste any time, let's get right into it. The first ingredient is shape. How do different shapes influence different impressions of design? Let's take a look at two shapes, a circle and a star. Now these are kindergarten level shapes, but we're going to do a deep dive into them, and maybe you'll understand that the story is much deeper than what you expect. First, we have a circle. The circle is smooth. Although there are clear lines between the circle and the background, our brain kind of pulls a trick on us. The difference between them isn't so clear. Notice how all the points around the edges are equidistant to the middle of the circle. It does a very good job of framing. It draws attention into the circle. It's hard to get lost here. The circle does a very good job of highlighting something else. It doesn't draw attention to itself, it draws attention to whatever is inside of it. A few words that could describe a circle are smooth and pleasant, and clear and understanding. Now look at the star. You can immediately feel it's a little bit more complex. It's a little bit harder to look at. It's not smooth. Your mind passes no attempt to trick you that there's a light difference between the star and the background. The difference is obvious. The star does a very poor job of framing whatever's inside of it. It's because the edges close in on itself and it breaks up the picture. Instead of drawing attention in, like the circle does, the star draws attention out to its points. Instead of playing a supporting role, like the circle does, the star demands attention for itself. It requires focus. A few words that would describe a star are bold and demanding, unwavering and robust. Now these are deep, aren't they? I mean, these are just two kindergarten level shapes that we learned when we were kids. Think of the complicated, nuanced stories of complex designs, like graffiti, abstract expressionism, or sculptures. And yes, websites are art too. The second ingredient is color. Now color might be the most well-studied ingredient of design worldwide. Yes, of course there are studies deep enough for a lifetime of learning, like typography and shape, layout. However, color is much more apparent in its effect, in its impression. Color wears its heart on its sleeve. I mean, everyone knows the effects it has. Red is bold. It makes you passionate. It makes you hungry. Blue is smooth. It pacifies you. It makes you feel calm. And yellow is enthusiastic. It scratches an itch. It makes you happy. We know this already, but the learning curve is twofold. The first is the precision of the color. Why this yellow instead of that yellow? And the second, how do these colors interact with each other? And that's what a color palette is. I mean, there are a whole bunch of color palettes, analogous and monochrome, and I mean, you name it. So you can see how the study goes so far, and how these colors interact with each other. Well, that's a subject for another video, so stay tuned. The third ingredient is layering. Now, layering adds depth to the design. I mean, think about storytelling. In storytelling, a good writer doesn't make flat characters. They make dynamic characters. You don't want to see a character that's the same no matter where they are. You want to see a character that acts slightly different with their family compared to their friends. That acts different when they're happy and when they're sad. Design should be the same way. Layering adds life. Yeah, it's somewhat of a hushed and nuanced part of design. If you take a novice designer and you ask them, tell me why design X is better than design Y, they may not catch it. It may be because there are hidden Easter eggs in the design for the viewer. Layering lets the designer say what they want to say about that element while not taking anything away from the element. The same ad layered with different backgrounds can give a completely different impression and completely nuanced in a completely different way. The fourth ingredient is typography. Now, typography is a little bit different than the other ingredients. Now, the other ingredients, they feel very much like art, but typography, even though it is art, feels a lot like science. That's because there are a whole bunch of different variables. I mean, there's leading and kerning and typeface and font and size and the weight and all these different variables you have to be very precise about. But it does have just as much, if not more, influence over your design, over the heart, over the feel of it than the other elements. It has been said, word has meaning, type has spirit, and the combination is spectacular. The last ingredient is contrast. Contrast is the relationship that different elements have because of their differing composition. Something is only big because it's related to something small. Something's only long because it's related to something short. Something is the focal point of design because it's related to things which aren't so important. Contrast gives context for your work. That's why it's such an important ingredient. Now, for time's sake, that's all we're going to talk about today, but I'm going to talk more about contrast in the next video, so stay tuned for the channel so you don't miss it. Thank you so much for making it this far in the video and learning about shape, coloring, layering, typography, and contrast. If you like the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe. It would really help me out and encourage me to make more videos like this. So thanks for watching. Until next time.